Welcome everybody to the Consciously Taking Back the Aging Process, Part 3. Dr. Darren Mills with Freedom Whole Health. And my phone number is 502-410-1270. If you have any questions, call me. I can be glad to give a mini consult. drmillsnd@freedomwholehealth.com is my email. So there's those two things. So we'll talk, we just hit on various things that were causing faster than usual aging processing. And I think we hit on chronic inflammation. We'll hit on that some more, maybe hopefully more in depth tonight. Of course, there's two types of inflammation. There's acute inflammation, like when you sprain your ankle, and that's definitely needed. We all need inflammation because inflammation is what causes things to heal. Acute inflammation, say for the ankle, for instance, it causes you not to want to walk on it. And then it causes your immune system to go there and start repair work on the area. When we were in a much more natural way of eating, we really didn't have that chronic inflammation because chronic inflammation is just a low-grade inflammation due to metabolic pathways not working. I think for some reason my webcam is not working very well. If it keeps that up, I'll have to replace it. Anyway, chronic inflammation, it's probably, I would say 100 to 150 years ago was not nearly as big of an issue. I guess sugar can cause that, but also just over eating processed foods that have chemicals in them that are not really supposed to be eaten, for lack of a better word. And it creates this just a low grade inflammation that everybody has to one degree or another. If a person is not aware of it, they probably have it a lot worse than people that are aware of it. Getting that metabolic pathway cleared is really important, and so we'll talk about ways to do that. We'll say chronic inflammation is made worse by not getting good sleep. So sleep disturbances, if you have a good sleep, you're really ahead of the game. There's so much stress that people can't sleep. They don't sleep well. They're thinking about the previous day. They're worried about their finances, and I can only imagine things are not getting easier. I just can't imagine what people go through that have 3, 4, or 5 kids and they're young. But anyway, I don't want to harp on that too much. But anyway, psychological stress is a huge facet of this because see what's going to say about that. Because the psychological bleeds into the physical, just what we were talking about before I hit the record button, and vice versa. I think it goes back and forth. I remember there was a time when I had 3 or 4 traumatic events happen, and I got pretty depressed, and then that also led back into my physicality. I had some physical symptoms and things that happened that you just can't take a pill and make it go away. One thing I've learned, and this was an interesting thing to me, is that I kept having some issues in the wintertime this year with lung problems. I was having like constantly fluid in my lungs, almost like a pneumonia type of situation. And it was just chronic. I mean, as much stuff as I was throwing at it, and I know a lot of stuff to throw at it, it just was not really getting better. And then I went to Florida for one day. I didn't go for one day, but in on day two of being in Florida, it all drained away. And so I got back and I looked at the emotion that's attached to lung. And I know I'm getting off track, but I thought it was worth taking this rabbit trail. And the emotion caused to lung is depression. So I get extremely sad in the wintertime. So I'll just leave it at that. Sorry about going off on that rabbit trail. Um, Obesity can be an issue with chronic inflammation. So that's something to look at. Vitamin D deficiency. So many times people forget about vitamin D, and I'm one of those. I That was one of the things that I started doing this winter to help with depression. Vitamin D is such an important. It does so much more, but it's very much helps with the mood. Um, Another thing for chronic inflammation is stealth infection. So it's not like a high grade infection, like a fever, but some people run a stealth infection where they just, well, to Angela's point, have no energy. And it could be due to a stealth infection. And there's blood work. If you get blood work, you can usually see your white blood cells will be high, white blood cell count, if you have a stealth infection. A person can use oregano oil to kill off stealth infections, but you got to use it for a really long time and you got to use quite a bit of it because it's not easy to kill out, but it definitely can be done. So if you can get down chronic inflammation, you're going to be able to slow down the aging process. And I'll get some other. We're going to get to some other silver bullets here in a minute. Another thing they talked about is dysbiosis, and dysbiosis is certainly correlated with chronic inflammation. And for those people who don't know what dysbiosis is it's an out of balance between the good bacteria, such as all of your bifidobacterium and all your probiotics. I can't remember even what they all are right now, but anyhow, there's way more than I could even come up with anyway. But lactobacillus, that's another one. That's a good one that's labeled. The scientific community have labeled all these as good. And then there is what they is labeled the bad ones, and I can't even come up with all of the names of the bad ones, but it doesn't matter. They have tests for that, and you can tell if you have way more bad bacteria than good. And there's so many symptoms that go along with that. Again, energy would certainly be one. Um, but some of the other symptoms of dysbiosis would be obesity again, colitis, which is inflammation of the colon, so gas, and probably would be some of that acid reflux, things of that nature. All of those things that make you miserable digestively. Another associated condition with dysbiosis is neurological disorders, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. So a lot of things start there in the dysbiosis in your gut. I always, someone had said your health starts in your gut, and that's been a long time ago. I've heard that, and man, I believe it. All health starts and ends in your gut. I mean, to a huge degree, a huge degree. If you can get your gut 80% healthy, you're gonna be doing a lot better than 95% of the people in this world. Because I went to a family reunion, and I don't mean to be talking bad about people, and I'm not going to, but just the types of food, if I ate like that every day, I'd be a mess. And certain people eat like that every day. That's just their way of eating, and lots and lots of cake, and lots of uh, foods that are processed, highly processed. Everybody's drinking out of aluminum cans and plastic bottles, and I want to say, don't do that. It's terrible for you. It can cause all kinds of bad stuff, but everybody has their own way of life, and I prefer to drink out of glass and or paper just because it's smart. It's just proven to not cause problems down the road. And I mean, I've seen people drink from an aluminum cans. I mean, my gosh, my dad has drink out of aluminum cans for 60 years, and he's strong as a horse. But his genetics are just strong, and not everybody's are. Mine are not. I can't do what other people can get away with sometimes. But that's neither here nor there. I still don't recommend it for anybody. All right. Things to get dysbiosis in check. Uh, Number one, calm your surroundings because stress can cause your gut to get out of whack. That's the scientific term for that. Get out of whack. And oregano oil is definitely can make a big difference. I don't know if you can use too much oregano oil or not. You might be on the side of caution and not take it forever. I'd have to research whether a person has ever taken it preventively on a daily basis, for the rest of their lives. I suppose you could take maybe one capsule or something like that as a preventive, but if a person has dysbiosis, you're going to be taking a lot more than one capsule a day. You're taking a lot, like nine. And that's, again, I'm not making a medical diagnosis for anybody, especially not over the internet. So, and I don't make medical diagnosis anyway. I just do nutritional stuff. I'll throw that disclaimer out there. Oh, another way to get dysbiosis in check is take a pre and probiotic. And a prebiotic is foods that feed your probiotic bacteria. So they feed, and I'd have to again look and see what foods they are. To me, it seems like it's broccoli and maybe like cabbage. Those types of things I think are prebiotics. First, you can get it in a capsule. If you go to the health food store, you can get one with prebiotics and probiotics all in the same capsule. And it's kind of like fertilizer for the garden, they're going to help proliferate your good bacteria, which will be a start. It doesn't necessarily kill the bad, but that being said, the probiotics eventually will start taking over for lack of a better word, the weeds, the bad dysbiotic bacteria, is if you keep feeding the good stuff. Digestive enzymes are a great way to pre-digest food in the stomach so that your body can work on repair rather than digestion. That's another way you can get a little more energy, Angela, because your body can now work on repair. And a lot of times your body's using its energy to digest foods. So just something to think about. Many herbal formulations are designed for dysbiosis. Do sell a SIBO kit, which is a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And for people who have serious problems, I, most people are that have a lot of digestive problems. They have SIBO, which is again small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, and there's kits out there that kill it off. But that being said, uh, these things will come back if you're not very vigilant. If you've got an overgrowth, especially in the beginning, they say like if you don't if you can like do a whole kit and it's like you got to eat like no sugar and basically for like I don't know 2 months you got to not do any kind of anything and then it's still going to come back. You really need to do at least another kit or stay on that diet for 9 months, they say, to really, and I just don't have that much discipline. I've never done it. Um, I've got my digestive health. I would bet you about 70 to 80%. I still I take this caveat. Now, my buddy who's on here right now, he told me, he said, you can eat wheat. You just can't eat the kind of bread it's America makes anymore. And I'll be damned, I can't eat wheat. I never would have dreamt in a million years I can eat his bread. And that stuff is delicious and I have zero problems with eating it. Now I'm gonna tell you about another thing that's gross, but it's important. Uh, Another thing, if you got dysbiosis really, really bad, and a lot of these things can manifest in ways like, well, just use that C word, that cancer, getting a fecal transplant, as gross as it is probably a wonderful idea. I don't know anybody personally who's done it, but I knew a guy who suffered from that C word. Um, and a friend of mine, he told him about it, and he did it. He got a fecal transplant, and he is alive today. He used to he I think he weighed like 175 pounds when he was healthy. He got down to 95 pounds, and he was knocking on death's door. Got a fecal transplant, and at this point, from what I've heard, I just heard uh, this week he is thriving, and he totally changed his life around. It was a moment in his life that he said, "I want to live," and he works out at the gym like 2 hours every day. He's just a specimen of physicality. Um, so he took once that happened, he took his health real seriously, and I've seen that many, many times that people they spend their whole lives making money and then they spend the whole rest of their lives once they make a ton of money spending all their money trying to get healthy. And I've seen it multiple times, and a lot of times it never works. They never get healthy because you can't unpickle a cucumber. It's very, very hard to unpickle a cucumber, if at all, if you can. Lifestyle intervention. So these are the interventions you can do that can make a difference too. So I'm just throwing some stuff out there. Number one, lifestyle intervention, exercise. Number two, lifestyle intervention, exercise. And number three, lifestyle intervention is exercise. And then I'm just joking, but that's how important it is. Um, I'd heard a while back ago that if a person they could put a exercise in a pill, every single person would buy it. because it just does so much good. But it takes time and it takes discipline. It takes effort. But it's super, super important as long as you're getting the appropriate nutritional uh, supplementation as well. Now, yeah, if you can get it in food, great. But some people can over exercise, which I've talked about in previous Zoom meetings. But that's hard to do. It's hard to do. You gotta be really ignorant in a way, and I don't mean to be mean, but ignorant of realities. You can't exercise when you have no food going in the body. That's crazy. And no nutrients going in the body. Things will break down. Um, number two, really number two is Mediterranean or ketogenic diet. Those are both very good choices as an intervention. Lots of vitamin C is a wonderful thing to do, and you can take that as a supplement or find foods that are high in vitamin C. I will mention nutrients for DNA stability. Number one is folate. So if you're not taking a supplement with folate in it, I probably need to take this for myself because I'm not taking a lot of B vitamins anymore. B12 is important for DNA stability. Niacin and zinc. And all of those, all the first three are just probably can get that in a B complex or maybe even in a multivitamin, a good multivitamin, preferably a multivitamin that is food-based. Food, yeah, instead of made in a lab. Okay, it's time for my commercial. Welcome to Freedom Whole Health. I gotta pay the bills, so if you like what you see and you want to support me, please get on my website, buy a supplement, tell somebody about me, use my services, tell other people to use my services, tell them they got to. They got to. Buy them a gift card. And thank you. All right. Next order of business is homocysteine. And that's something I didn't know much about, but homocysteine is when your body is lacking B12, B6, and folate. You will your body everybody has homocysteine, but your body will start over producing homocysteine, and homocysteine is inflammation. And there's several reasons why this is, and you got kind of this about, I don't know, 5-10 years ago there was this. It's called MTHFR gene, and everybody got on this craze. Like everybody supposedly had this MTHFR gene that stopped your body from producing homocysteine, and it's always this. It's always something. And I think you can get a test for that. Probably not cheap to see how your genetics do, but I just look at, if your body is short on B12, B6, and folate, you need to look into that. Why is that? And if you're deficient in those, double up on them, get another test to see if your body's still lacking those nutrients. And if you are still lacking those nutrients, you may have that specific gene. I think it's still just a matter of you got to like double or triple dose if you have that MTHFR gene. I don't know any other way around um, it. I don't, but I could be wrong. I could be, you have to do your own research on that if you wanted to do that. But that is a real thing, is that certain genetics, your body won't accept B12, B6, and folate. So then you develop homocysteine levels in it. And if you have high homocysteine levels, you're going to ultimately can lead to cardiovascular disease. That's one of the huge, that's the layman's terms. With what that said in the book that what I was just reading is decreased mitochondrial respiration. So I suppose your mitochondria is going to go haywire when MTHFR, I mean when the homocysteine's high. Diminished ATP production, which again, that's talking about Angela's question about energy. ATP production is energy production. That's basically the same thing. And if you have homocysteine, you're not in your body, you're not going to have adequate ATP production or energy production. Then the other thing in the book, it said can lead to auto oxidation. So I suppose it's talking about cellular degradation or oxidation, which again can lead to that C word. And that's my code word. So anybody that's been on here long enough knows what that means. I might also keep saying the word over and over again because I don't specialize in that. Well, that's all the research I did for today. I'm going to take this recording off.